Hello.
Okay, now we got to do this.
Kimberly Ann says she does.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Into the Night with Shawn Kelly and my guest, Michael Anthony. Um, I'm sorry I interrupted you before I started the intro. What were you going to say?
Kimberly, our guest says that her link never came through, and I'm going through my phone settings because I know usually my messenger will match what you've done, the
Right.
actions that you did, and I'm going to send her a link from me. Problem is, it didn't show up on my phone. It showed up on my mainframe and
Mm-hmm.
my subframe, but it didn't come into here.
Wow. Hmm.
Anyway, everybody's having technology problems this evening.
Yeah, it must be something in the air tonight. Um, Gotta
Which is
be.
really weird. When you think about that, reminds me of the old moon theory, where people just go schizo nuts and uh, with the full moon theory kind of thing. But at the same time, there's nothing better than a beautiful woman in your arms under the brightness of a full moon.
Oh, it sucks.
Do you get the
Oh,
yin and yang to that?
yeah.
See how balance works?
Yes,
All right, let's see if
absolutely.
we can get her a link. Let's double that out and see
Okay.
if
Well, let me introduce the show while you get a hold of her, okay, buddy?
yeah, I'm gonna try because like I said, nothing came through.
Welcome to Into the Night with Shawn Kelly and Michael Anthony. We were just on Chasing Prophecy, which is on 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we are on 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 New Orleans. No, I'm sorry. New Orleans is 105.3, 107.7 Mississippi. And how is everybody's night tonight? Um, I hope everyone had a good week. I was looking forward to coming on tonight and just to spend an hour with you guys, and with our guest. Hopefully she'll get on. But tonight, what I really want to talk about is when I wrote in the description about the paranormal investigations. Sure, there are spiritualists or mediums or other people who use the spiritual side of things, but there's also what you what we use for as equipment. Okay, you got your K2 meter, you have your um, SLS camera, and you got an EVP. I'm kind of like old school for this. For me, I prefer just to have a digital voice recorder and a camera and the K2. That's all I use. I guess um, because that's who I am. Hi, Mandy. How are you? Thank you for telling us it's on YouTube. And so, what really is nice about having the group where you got your spiritual people, and then you got your techies, your guys with the equipment. Um, which meshes. But also, it's crazy. Hey, Tommy Miller. Hi, guys. Looking forward to the show tonight. Hi, Tommy. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome. Um, and what I like about the mesh is that you can use equipment, and the person can use his spiritual, his mediumship, or whatever. And if you guys come up with the same conclusion, okay, then that's even more awesome. And so, what's up with Kimberly, buddy? Yeah.
Well, I think I sent her the right stream. I'm not sure. So I did it through Messenger. It wasn't showing where it should have been showing, so I hope I didn't send her last week's link.
Okay, hold on. Here's what I'll do for you. You want to talk about your equipment there, sir? That you hold on. Oh, I'm going to send you a link through Messenger, and and if you can send it to her, okay?
Okay, please do.
All right.
Yeah, stand by. Fun's always with technical issues. You never know enough um, on how to do everything. But we're there. We'll get our guest in. Tonight's going to focus upon a lot of this, that, and the other type things, like basically paranormal
Yeah,
investigation
the difference.
equipments.
I sent it to you, brother. I sent it to you.
Got it. Now I got it.
Okay. But but it's crazy. You got your people, like I was saying, who are your techies with the equipment, and you got also got um your people who are very sensitive. And but also there's a lot of people out there that are more into the scientific approach to paranormal investigation. And no matter what you talk to them or try to explain to them, they just don't want to you know gel with you. It's just like, hey, listen,
Hey, I'm
you
right
know scientific this and scientific that. And
here. So the one I
but I really, with the group PPS that I had, I retired it, but I really depended on the people who had DSLS cameras, who had the audio, the good cameras, the all kinds of other stuff, because believe it or not, you really do get good pictures, videos, EVPs, and but it's like I remember when we saw, oh, there she comes.
There we go.
Hello,
Hey,
hello. Hey, there she is.
how you doing, pretty?
I had to download Chrome to get this to work, so we're good now.
We're good. Oh, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. And what I'd like to talk, I don't know if you heard a little bit of the introduction. Um, I would like to get your feedback on the equipment you use through. You gotta love them.
Check.
You have to.
I like toys. I talk to them through this.
That's cool. But I'd like to get your input on and some of the equipment that you do use when you go on investigation.
Check, check.
Okay. I think my favorite piece of equipment that I use is the spirit box. Um, I just recently at my last investigation in October actually did the Estes method for the first time.
Hmm.
And if anyone's unaware of what that is, you connect the spirit box to headphones, noise canceling headphones, so you can't hear outside of it, and then you blindfold yourself. So like your senses are cut off and you're focused on what you're doing. And I thought it was really cool, being it was my first time doing it. We were at the Bethel Park Schoolhouse for that.
Okay. Yep.
Um, did that in the basement and in one of the school rooms, and we had really good connections with it. Actually, last week after I was on with you guys, we actually did an hour-long spirit box session in the house.
How'd that go?
That was pretty cool. Apparently we were talking to my neighbor who had passed away, and we had a lot of. I mean, when my mom tried talking to them, they weren't really trying to talk to her. They were only talking to me. But they were
Uh-oh.
chatty. I had to keep saying, like, you know what, you guys can't keep talking all at once. We need to like slow down for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I really like the spirit box. I've got an EVP recorder. I got two of those. K2 meter.
Balls.
Yeah, the cat balls. We got those. We have the temperature gauge, the infrared, like the handheld infrared,
Right.
And then the
We also
parabolic.
have what the one of the other tool. You point the direction for temperature.
Thermal
Temperature.
imaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
we've got the parabolic microphone as well.
Is that what your dad's been holding?
No.
Microphone?
No,
No.
that's like a karaoke microphone.
Yeah, but
Oh,
what it does is the vibrations of
okay.
the echo changes the element because of the technology.
Yeah.
And it's something that I want to experiment that I'm working on for myself.
Cool.
And it's coming along in a way that people are going to find quite remarkable for what they're spending, for what they can get for their money to do the same thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, we haven't been able to use the parabolic microphone anywhere besides like inside our own house yet, just because we haven't
Okay.
gone and investigated anywhere yet. But I think it's cool because Ed and Lorraine Warren used to have their own version back in the day, and
Mhm.
you've seen them on like Ghost Adventures, like all the ghost shows, and that they've all tapped into using it at some point. And I think it's cool to have. So like I'm really interested in being able to have the opportunity still to take it into an investigation and see how it actually works.
Are you with a group? Do you have a group, or do you just go out by yourself or with friends?
Um my two friends, we like to go and do our like adventures together. They've gone, well, Jordy, she has come with me to Hillview Manor, and that was kind of like just a girls' investigation that we did. And we actually met two girls through that, and we still have contact with them. So we'd like to be able to investigate with them a little bit more.
Okay.
And her fiance, Cheyenne, he actually came with us on the last investigation, and that was his first one, first official one, because we've gone into the Keysport, and we've done like Devil's Den and stuff like that. But we actually have a YouTube channel, which is, as my name's listed on here, Classic Adventures, where we have a few videos posted of what we have done.
Mhm.
Just at the time being, like uh, quarantine hit and everything, and then our work schedules had us a little chaotic to be able to get to the investigations. So we were actually going to go back to Hillview Manor last year, but it sold out so quickly because it's such a hot spot.
Right.
But we were at the time doing some ghost hunts with the Ghost in that team,
Yep.
because they had a private event at my job, and that's how I actually met them and started going
I
out with them
think
on a few.
that's TJ, right? And Brent.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I remember TJ. TJ, him and I go back a long way. I mean, we're like kind of the first ones here in
yeah.
Pittsburgh to actually start a paranormal group or different groups and stuff like that. But what is your okay? So all of us are going on an investigation, right?
Hmm.
And you're the boss. Okay, you're the boss of this. What is your preparations? So say 2 3 days before the investigation goes. How you do the investigation, and when and how do you look at your evidence?
So leading up to the investigation, I like to go through all of my equipment, like make sure everything's set up, make sure you have fresh batteries, make sure you have backup batteries, because they always say, like, if you want the spirits to, yes, Jordy, he'll be calling us back. They always say that spirits can drain your batteries, energy, and everything. And we've seen it happen quite a few times on our investigation. So it's always nice to have an extra pack or two of batteries just in case. Um, but I just like to make sure like I have fresh SD cards, everything's charged up, and I always double and triple check it before going on an investigation just to make sure
Mhm.
everything's set. When it comes to the investigation, the type of equipment that I use, it just really depends. Jordy, I know she likes to use like the K2 meter, and she tests with the spirit box. Cheyenne likes the laser grid. Like, he likes to be able to have the visual stuff. Um, Me personally, like when we were in Hillview, we had like a really good experience when it came to just sitting in the dark and being quiet and seeing what would happen. And I feel like when we were more in tune with the element of being in the dark and getting your eyes adjusted to the surroundings and everything, it just turned into like crazy experiences. Like, oh, you feel a cold breeze. Like they used to have jokesters in this area, little pranksters here and there. And Jordy was actually the first one to say that she saw a shadow going past me. So then I started watching that area, and I eventually saw something myself. But what was really different to me in that investigation was I was sitting there, like I had the spirit box in one hand. I didn't have it on because the other girls that were with us, they were using an Ovilus. So we just had that going, and the only lights we had were from the exit signs. So like we were just committed. We were the only ones in the building besides Brett and his team, and they were down in like the command center. So we knew that nobody else was around us.
Right.
And it was just interesting to me, like after seeing the shadows, like I wasn't personally afraid. I was like, these are the moments that you always like watch on TV, and you see that they start to get interactions, and then they kind of like some of them kind of run away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, we want to sit here and get the full experience. And it was strange to me because it was something I haven't experienced before, but I knew myself that I wasn't scared.
Right.
I was just intrigued about what was going on. But I found myself backing into a corner, and it felt like my heart was beating out of my chest, and I kind of slid down the wall, panicking because I felt like I'm trying to hide from something. And I feel that I feel like I have a better connection when I'm trying to channel into the spirits.
All right.
Right.
Have you? I got to ask the question because I'm just curious, and also a big shout out to Jordy Marie. We see you. I see your comments. Big shout out to you, girl. Thanks for your work in the paranormal field. But so I know we were talking a couple times about like trigger objects and stuff. Did you start thinking about any more further into that endeavor of some of the trigger? And somebody else also asked about a RAM pod. I think you have one of those.
I actually don't.
You don't.
I thought there was one in the bag.
No.
I'll tell you my feeling on the REM pod is that someone can manually manipulate those. I don't like the REM pod because it really don't work whenever I had a
Yeah, they're
chance.
very sensitive to getting it to go off yourself.
Yeah, extremely sensitive. But,
they are cool to have, but I mean, like they're nice, but it's not something that I would go and spend my money on first. I'd like an Ovilus before that.
Okay, that's a good question. I do want to ask you. I'm on the fence with an Ovilus, and I'll tell you why. Because there's words programmed into that Ovilus.
Mhm.
All righty. Okay. And it's like, how do you know the ghost is actually sent, or the spirit, however you want to call it, ghost or spirit? How do you know it's actually them communicating with you? Well, it could be something where it's automatically programmed for a word to go on.
Right.
Say.
I don't know. I've seen a couple of teams where they say there's a certain amount of words that are programmed into its database. Like I think, for example, this one they had like 1,200 words programmed into it,
Mm-hmm.
and they were getting words that they've never seen before, they've never heard before, and I think it's interesting. I've only used one time, so like I don't have a lot of experience with it.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it would be something cool to like personally try out, like on a one-on-one spot during an investigation to see how it goes.
Okay. That's because something that already has something programmed into it, any piece of equipment like that, I'm really like on the fence with it. You know? So when you go on your investigations, do you bring like a psychic, a mystic, or whatever?
Personally, we haven't actually done anything like that. I think it would be cool to try. Just when we've done the investigation so far, I've tried myself seeing how much I could tap in to my own abilities and see what I can come up with on my own.
I have a question. If you could get a medium, a psychic, who would be your first choice?
Cindy Kaza.
I know it.
She's my favorite. I mean, like, I love her and I love Patty Negri. I think they're both amazing and they have different ways with how they do their stuff. But Cindy's like one of my top ones, and I've actually had a little bit of communications with her and Dave Schrader, so
Right.
I know a little bit about her spirit art and everything.
So, see, I never heard of the lady before. So she's into like whatever she's projecting, she draws it.
Yeah, so she taps in, she does spirit drawings. She does
Automatic writing.
yes, she does that. She's so in tune. She's been on quite a few shows, but the last show that we just watched, she actually helped solve 200-year-old murder case.
Yeah.
Wow.
She does really phenomenal work, and she's actually going to be taking over for Amy on the Dead Files. So I'm interested to see.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Now, see, I like Amy. I liked Amy. I really did.
Yeah, she's good.
Yes, she's really, really good.
I love I like the techniques that they use, but I also like on Taps or what is Taps Rotor guy.
Yeah.
What his daughter's doing now with the
alphabet.
Trigger alphabet, yeah, where they hold hands, they concentrate, they try to reach out, see if there's any response, and they utilize like a cat ball or something like that. And they ask them just for a tap or to light up the ball, they'll stop on the letter. And oh my God, people are spending all this money, and this method is working like madness in a good way. And I think more people need to do it. This is a man and a woman doing it together, husband and wife team. But, I think that if you're out there in the paranormal field and it's two guys, I know that could be a little touchy-feely topic, but the point is this. They may need that double energy field of electromagnetism that could make all the difference. Because I would just say this to you, Shawn. Watch a couple of the most recent shows and check them out. There's something to this in a huge way.
Yeah, I'd say it was the first episode of their new season is where they did it.
Okay.
There's something to it, and it doesn't cost anything, really.
I was actually surprised at how well they were having communication. Like, I mean, they're going through the alphabet so quickly, and you're just knock, and they're spelling out the words, and it's guiding them on how to find stuff. And it was honestly phenomenal to watch it, because I haven't seen something pan out so well like that.
Right. It went from an investigation to a treasure hunt, and they found the treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
In the floor, it was a pen, a very ancient pen. Mm-hmm. And this man, I don't want to say a lot about it because I'd like for the audience to watch it also and yourself. But it was pretty neat on how that worked. But it takes three people, to be honest with you. You need someone with a tablet. So when the letter is identified, that someone is taking notes as to it. So they start with the name and they start with the alphabet. And if you hit A and you get a knock or a double knock, depending upon how you communicated with the spirit, the intelligence that you feel is there. If it stops on A, then it's A. And then if they go to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And if it stops on N, and then it'll say, okay, N. And then someone will say, is it Ann? And if they get a knock, then, all right, your first name's Ann. Watch it. It's very intriguing. And like I said, it doesn't cost anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to have to try that out and watch it, because since I retired the group a while back, I'd never heard of something like that. And that sounds like pretty interesting. But let me ask you a question, and it's a thought just came to my mind. Could it possibly be that you're actually working with a Ouija board, but in a different sense if you're asked for letters?
Well, it would be a human Ouija board. Theoretically, I guess you could look at it like that, but I can't answer that. I don't think any of us can.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Okay.
something that was just introduced to us, so I'm not sure how to have an opinion on it yet, just because it's like so brand new to me.
Wait a minute. Hauser.
Oh
There's a
my God, the
name.
Isaac Files. What a show, man.
Those are files, yeah.
Hauser.
Oh,
He actually did experiments that way, and so did. I just posted this from 1946. A man sitting with his UFO equipment. When you look into the research and writings on him, he did experiments with cards that represented it also in of the same fashion. So if you want to call them human Ouija boards, maybe theoretically, I guess in a way you could say it, but I would just say, and to anybody, the only thing you're really doing without using the energy of a Ouija board being focused upon letters is you're asking them to communicate the letters by a knock or
okay.
by lighting up an object or setting off, a noisemaker, things of that nature. But
Yeah, I
I've
mean,
seen it also done with trigger objects.
yeah, I've seen people do it with, the flashlight technique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was
And
another one by Amy that they actually, I think, were probably presented that type of technology now being used in paranormal.
hmm
That's, well, again, being with the flashlight situation, I've seen it work one time and it was freaking amazing. It was. And we got it on video too.
yeah,
Um, we were done at the Bel Air house and we had our cameras set up going into the basement. Well, we were in the basement, but we had our cameras set up and going into another room. And then all of a sudden, you just see this flashlight. Literally, you could hear it click. It turned on by itself and turned off by itself. It was creepy as heck. But
yeah, it's crazy to actually see it happen in front of you. Uh,
mhm,
the I have a video of this on my YouTube channel. The last location that we did, the Bethel Park Schoolhouse, we
mhm,
were in one of the classrooms where we had an XLS setup, and we had a great experience with that. And at the same time, we're asking questions, and they're responding with the flashlight. And then it was that little triangle machine where you have the yes and the no.
yeah.
We were getting not only did we have figures on the XLS machine, but we were getting responses on the flashlight and on that machine at the same time.
When you were at Hell, I think the Bethel School too. Were you down in the boiler room,
Um,
or
at Hillview, I was, yes.
how did you? What did you pick up from there?
So what happened down there? I wish that we had video evidence of this because this night was incredible, but at the time we didn't want to pay the $80 to be able to post it online, so we just kind of indulged in the experience. We went downstairs, and for anyone who's like not aware of how like ghosts and that would do their investigation, you bunch up in a group and you go with one investigator and you go around with everyone until you've gone to every area, and then they let you go and do your own. So for the first half of that, we did that. And when we were down in the boiler room, we had a laser grid set up. We did a spirit box, and we weren't getting much on there. So we decided to use an EVP recorder. Um,
Mhm.
but it wasn't like a typical one. It's like one of the $3,000 ones that they don't make anymore.
Okay, I know. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were doing that, and we were asking I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but the man that did everything with the facility and whatnot, we were asking to communicate with him, and he told us flat out, get out. So we're like, okay, we'll just go to the room down the hall. Like, I know this is all your stomping grounds and everything. So we were in there, and the guy that was our guide, he asked if the spirit could tell us how many people were in the room. And when we listen back, you hear it counting 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow.
Like I think it counted all the way to 7, and we were just standing there like, oh my God, did that just happen? That was really cool. But when the group stuff was done and most of the people had gone for the night, because I think it was like around 11:30 we got to be on our own, and a lot of people had left at that point. So me and Jordy, we decided to go tackle the basement / boiler room by ourselves. Kind of terrifying.
Hey, I have a question for you. Can I send a link to Jordy?
Yeah.
Okay, Jordy, she's busy talking. We might as well have your partner in crime step in for a minute. And I also want to send her congratulations. She had a little baby just
Awesome.
a couple weeks ago, a little preemie, very tiny, but very
Awesome.
beautiful.
That's great. Hey, congratulations, Jordy.
But the craziest thing that happened when we were down there was 2 separate things that happened. And this is why I was like, all right, if I can tackle this basement, I can tackle basement anywhere, because this was terrifying. Is I'm pretty sure Jordy had the EVP recorder and I just had the flashlight, and I'm just looking back and forth. It's like when you're down there by yourself in the dark, it's kind of terrifying, especially the size of that place and everything.
Right.
So it was weird. We were sitting down there and you hear the door to get into the basement, it slams shut. So I'm like, okay, we should like pause on what we're doing for a second, because if someone's coming downstairs, we don't want it to contaminate what we're doing.
Right.
So she's sitting there still, and I get up and I peek my head out the door, because right outside of the door frame is the stairs. And I peeked my head out. Nobody there. Nobody. And you heard somebody running down the stairs. I said, okay, time to wrap it up down here. That's enough.
You didn't go to it. You didn't go to the running down the steps.
Well, the running was coming literally right in front of us. So like
Oh, wow.
I'm standing there watching, so I'm expecting somebody, and I'm like, hello, is anyone there? And no response. And I was like, well, nobody can get in from behind. It's only a one-way in and out down there. So we went and met up with the girls, Ashley and Ari, that we had met, and we did a couple other things, and we decided that we were going to go tackle the basement again, because they wanted to go down there, but they were a little afraid. And honestly, I was kind of afraid still after what happened, but I was just exhilarated with what was going on. So I'm like, let's do it again. So we're walking down there, and we're pretty much the only people left at this point. And we're walking towards the basement, and I was like, do you hear that? And they're like, what? I'm like, I hear voices. Like, maybe someone's down there. So I open the door because I hear, like, a conversation going on. And I yell down because I don't want to, like, contaminate people's things. And nobody responded. And I was like, all right, if I just heard a full-blown conversation and nobody's responding back, I was like, I'm good. I don't need to go back down there. It was cool, but I was like a little scared at that point. I was like, you got me there.
Now, let me ask you this question. With you doing the investigation, what is your final goal that you want to accomplish by paranormal investigating?
So I want to be different than like what you see on TV, and not to say it in a bad way, but I feel like a lot of the shows you watch, they don't ask the questions that you want to know.
Right.
Like, what's it like on the other side? What was it like when you passed away? Like my mom was asking these questions the other day. Like, what do you do all day? Like, do you like, is there a sense of time? Like, how do things work? And I information about their life in order to like have a conversation with them if you want to, but it's really trying to understand what life is like on the other side, like what it's like when you cross over, like what's keeping you here.
Okay. See, in my experience, whenever I would talk to a spirit, I would use the K2 meter. You have one?
Yeah.
Okay. And I would go to a room and I would start asking questions. And you know how they work, right? They go all the way up and down. And So I would be like, okay, you're a little girl here. Why are you here? I always said, yet, gave them like a little bit of questions, or I would give them the answer, and they would do this, with the machine.
Mhm.
And so that's how I used, with the K2 meter. To me, that is the best piece of equipment out there, and I'll tell you why. And this is my opinion. Okay, you cannot manipulate. The only way you can manipulate it is if you go up to a power outlet, or if you put it up to the light.
Right.
You know what I mean? To see where the energy's coming from. But if you're in a room, okay, when you're in a room, okay, and you do your base reading, do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Usually, like
Good.
Cheyenne or Jordy will go around and do it.
Okay. So what? And then you're sitting there, and then all of a sudden you're like, all of a sudden this thing starts going on. I have no doubt in my mind. I'll take it to my grave. To me, that's a spirit communicating with me. You know,
Mhm.
you know. Deborah Ann Myers says, and this is a question for you if you want to answer it. I would like you to answer it. What's a K2 meter?
Well, first, I like to say the K2 meter is such a cool piece of equipment. If you're going to investigate, I think it's one of like the key things that you should have. It's definitely nice to get a little baseline investigation going, and I've had some pretty good experiences with it when trying to communicate. And I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
That happens.
That happens to me all the time. It's
Oh
my
yeah,
age. It's
the
my age.
dictionary goes dead.
Right.
I know, but it's a lot. But also, Deborah asked this, and it's okay. Let's all do a breather for a second because it's a lot. Deborah also asked, "Have you ever done an investigation without using sophisticated technologies?" Which I think then you're going by your own senses and perceptions. And
Yes.
yes, I have. Yes, that is like a big, big yes. But not everybody can do that because I even told Shawn in talking conversation, and I even tell Kimberly this. I don't need anything to make a connection or go anywhere.
Mhm.
If
Right.
it's there, it's going to happen. The same as if you travel to get to where you think it may happen. You could get an off night spending hundreds of dollars to do something. Doesn't always get you the answers that you're looking for or having the experience that you want. But always remember, be careful what you wish for in that experience.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
And Deborah agrees. And Mandy Neal says, there's a question. Do you go everywhere and do it? The K2, I do believe she's talking about.
The K2, I've pretty much used it every investigation that I've taken it. Um, I can't say you get great results everywhere. I think it really depends on the activity levels and how the spirit wants to interact. Because some spirits, they're more drawn to some pieces of equipment more than another. Um,
Right.
and I kind of wish Jordy was here to answer this question because she had such a great experience with the K2 that
Hmm.
people were jealous of her in this room. Um,
Okay.
have have you personally yourself been to Hillview Manor?
You know what? Out of 18 years of investigating, I never stepped in there,
Okay.
and never ever stepped in there.
So there is a chapel that's in the back of like the first floor. And when we were in there, everyone's kind of spread out. So there's only like 10 of us in there because we were with our group. And
Right.
you have somebody sitting in front of us with a K2. You have somebody sitting behind us with a K2. Neither of them
Hmm.
have anything going off. But Jordy's sitting here and she starts getting spikes. So everyone turns to her and they're holding their K2 meters at her and they're not lighting up. Only ours is. And they're like trying to figure out why. And somebody that was in front of us actually had an ovulus going and it was coming up needle, blood, scared. And I was like, well, nobody in this room is going to understand it but me and her. But she's a phlebotomist.
Oh wow.
So I was like, maybe they're connecting with you. Like they're scared. They understand what you do and they're scared. And that's why
Right.
she was the only person in the room getting that connection. You can have multiple of the same pieces of equipment in an area, but if they're interested in talking to one specific person or connecting with one specific person that understands them, I think it's just cool to see. Like you try to debunk it and you can't.
Right.
I was only 1 out of 3 going off. I just think it's cool.
It definitely is. Deborah Ann says there were some properties. She was a realtor, I do believe, that she personally would not list due to house activity. But do you know in the state of Pennsylvania, the realtors or the people who sell houses do,
Disclosure.
do not have don't have to tell you that your house is haunted in the state of Pennsylvania.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Have you ever done a house before?
I mean, besides my parents' house, not really.
Okay.
I've done a school, I've done Hillview, and I've the Devil's Den in McKeesport.
What about
Okay.
Gettysburg?
That's true. There's a lot of
You're
places.
all through there twice, 3 times. What?
I've been there so many times.
She's done more than this. She's just not even thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, like at Gettysburg, I've done the orphanage. I've been in the pit in the orphanage to investigate. I've done the Jenny Wade house, and behind the Jenny Wade house is the first full apparition photo I've ever had, and I've had it checked by so many people because a lot of people, when I post it in paranormal groups, they're like, "Oh, that's a lens flare. I'm a photographer.
Yes.
I know what I'm talking about."
Yes, I know.
Because I've had so many people confirm what I have. Like, you cannot make this up. They're like, "Well, it's the time of the year where they're dressed in old time clothing," and I'm like, I can promise you, me and my ex at the time, we were the only ones outside because everybody went back inside to finish the tour. I stayed outside to take pictures.
Right. Well, let me tell you, if you go up to Gettysburg again, now I've been going up there for like over 20 years now, every year, and I love it up there.
Oh, it's
Um,
great.
it's called the Sachs Covered Bridge.
Yes, I took Jordy and Cheyenne there. It's
Okay.
we've captured like literal screams coming through the spirit box, like
Yes.
blood curdling screams, and
No.
like you're coming into the area of like the battlefield and stuff. It was
Mhm.
we had the spirit box connected to the Bluetooth in the car, so everybody could hear it and everyone could ask questions while we were just driving through to pick a spot. And they were like, "Hey, hi, hello," and I was like, "Whoa!" Like everyone's
Yeah.
all the water right now.
Jordy just said that. She has mentioned
Yeah.
here we caught soldiers talking with each other and greeting us.
It was super
Um,
cool.
if I can make a suggestion to you, okay, go to the wheat field, right? And
Mhm.
I'm sure you have a CD player in your car. Okay. Buy Irish music. Okay. And open up the doors and the windows.
Mhm.
And you just turn that music all the way up.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you this, the Irish Brigade will be dancing out in the middle of the field
Mm.
because that has happened to me.
Yeah.
Uh,
So you're using music then like a trigger object.
yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And the cat balls are pretty cool.
Mhm.
But what I want to say to you is it is great to see young people really getting into the investigation, to understand the equipment, to go out and be active in the field. Okay. I've done it for so long that, I can't stay out till 3 in the morning, then wake up and go to work at 8 in the morning. You know what I mean? I just can't do that. But I want to thank you for continuing, um, keeping it going because it's uh, people like you that we need, okay, in order to keep it flowing. You know what I mean? To
Mhm.
keep it flowing. Is there, let's see, we got about 3 more minutes. I would like to have you back on the show again.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, we can work something out.
okay.
And bring Jordy.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
bring
need
Jordy away.
to
We'll
go on.
bring Jordy. And because I really did enjoy our conversation tonight. I really did.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
So, do you have any last words for somebody that is brand new at paranormal investigating? What do you recommend?
Um, I recommend starting small. Like, don't go to a big location and overwhelm yourself trying to get around every square inch and everything. Starts with something small, like a house or like a small school or something. Like, I personally started my investigations at Gettysburg, and I've gotten some of the best one-on-one experiences there. I think it really depends on how much you put your mind and your energy into it. And you don't even have to have equipment. Most of the times before I even went there, I didn't have equipment. I just took my phone and I click a couple pictures back to back and look back at them later. You have voice memos on your phone. Like, you can just record EVPs on there. You don't have to start spending all this money on equipment. You can start small and figure out how you want to grow from there.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to get used to the equipment too.
Mhm.
But
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
surprised that you don't bring up the fact that you do the ufology paranormal ever since your sighting, or the fact that you visit the ancient, what I call the ancient, the country boy cemeteries that I've taken you to.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing though. Since I was little, like, I remember when Ghost Adventures started. Like, I remember when all these shows started airing, and I used to creep my babysitter out because I'd be into all the stuff that scared her. Like, since I was a kid, this stuff has had my interest, and if I could just full time be a paranormal investigator and have my own show, like, I would. Me and Jordy talk about it all the time. We would love to be able to make something so great out of it with our YouTube channel in order to travel around the world and go to these places that we want to go to. It's just, you have to start small. You have to start somewhere, work your way up.
Cemeteries are the best place to go. I love cemeteries.
Yep.
I
Jordy's
mean,
actually done some cemetery
and did
investigations.
you know that at a cemetery, it's sacred ground, so
Mhm.
nothing can touch you there.
That's why I opened up this evening. Should you fear the dead,
Right.
or what walks amongst them?
I mean, we're gonna be them one day, you know. They
That's
were
right.
All right, let's not
I'll,
go there.
I'll come knocking on your door. You better have the K2. When your dad says, you know what, Shawn passed away, get ready for your K2 or whatever you want. I will give you, I will haunt. I'm not going to haunt you. I'll just acknowledge my presence. But that's about time for now. Kimberly, thank you so much for being on tonight. I really enjoyed myself. We'll get you on again. Bring Jordy, and we'll have more conversations.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for having me. We're definitely gonna get her on here.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, so I usually do my ending right now, so that'd be cool. So everybody, thank you again for joining in tonight and watching Into the Night with Shawn Kelly. And I just want to leave my message that I say all the time. Okay, here's what is that parents, please go up to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And children, please go to your parents and give them a hug and tell them that you love them, because those three words, I love you, go a long way. And if you're a person that your parents are deceased, or you don't have somebody to give a hug to, find somebody. It don't hurt. Sit down and talk and just give them a hug. Because people need hugs. Hugs are good. And on that note, I want to thank everybody again for being here. Kimberly, Michael, thank you. And on that note, I'm going to say happy hunting and good night.
Good night, everyone.